So I don't know if you've been keeping track of the meta lately, but something interesting has been going on. So not that long ago, Labyrinth was known as a trap-heavy deck that chose not to really play any hand traps because it preferred setting a lot of back row. And then after that came a trend where people started playing the furniture monsters and played a bunch of hand traps out of nowhere. Actually, there were even some builds that were playing upwards of 15 hand traps, and obviously they were using the furniture monsters to discard these surplus hand traps to be able to get their trap cards set so that they can start playing on turn 0. But with that being said, after we got the most recent ban list, people started reverting back to the old version of Labyrinth. So instead of the furnitures, people are playing a bunch of floodgates like Rivalry, Ghost and Match, Skill Drain, etc. And the trap-heavy version can also abuse Lord of the Heavenly Prison because you can bounce it back with Big Welcome, and you can use it as a tribute fodder for your virus trap cards. And since the trap-heavy version is not really playing any hand traps, it actually plays a lot of board breakers instead, so main deck Evenly, or main deck Sphere Mode, or Lava Golem, or Super Poly. And Sphere Mode is particularly good because it takes up your normal summon, not your special summon, so you can also play Pot of Duality on top. Now, you might be thinking, but what is the best version between the trap-heavy version and the furniture version? And if you ask pretty much any pro player, the answer will pretty much always be the same. These two decks are really similar in what they do, just with different strengths and weaknesses. The furniture build can even afford to play weird cards like Gamma, because even though it's at 1, worst case scenario, you discard the driver for furnitures, and it's as if you never drew a bad card. And your best case scenario, you draw that Gamma and you sack the shit out of your opponent. Same thing with Nibiru. Even if you're playing against a deck that doesn't lose to Nibiru, worst case scenario, you just discard it away, you get a trap card, and it's fine. So yeah, with the furnitures, you can turn any bad card into a technically good card and also get a lot of recursion back with the furnitures once they are in the graveyard. And the really cool thing about the furnitures is that you can also use them as link or synchro materials for Chaos Angel. Something that the trap-heavy version cannot really do. Because once you summon Chaos Angel once, you can start summoning back again and again thanks to the field spell whenever you use any normal trap card that isn't a Labyrinth trap card. But unfortunately, the issue with the furniture version is that you're discarding so much that you're kind of always down on card advantage very early on. So on turn 1 or turn 2, whatever, you are under a lot of pressure and you really have to stabilize as soon as you possibly can. But once you get the ball going, you literally cannot be stopped. This deck is invincible. The trap-heavy deck, on the other hand, is pretty much the exact opposite. It doesn't really do any discarding, and as a matter of fact, you're always going to start with 5 or 6 cards, so you're never really going to be at a card deficit compared to your opponent at least. But you're also developing your resources way less faster than the IKEA version. I will say though, the IKEA version does lose to Bestials quite hard because they obviously are the main reason why you can recur back your cards so that you always keep going, and unfortunately Bestials are really popular in this format. Dragon Link is the bane of Labyrinth's existence, and that's the reason why people are back to playing the trap-heavy version. Dragon Link really does not care about Ghost and Match, does not care about Rivalry, obviously because everything is Dragon, no shit, and they can definitely play through Skill Drain. But even though the furniture version does lose to Bestials and maybe potentially Ash and Bell a little more than the trap-heavy version, one thing that I will have to give it credit for is how it can diversify its array of interruptions. Because of the fact that you have both hand traps, trap cards, and resources in the graveyard, even if you get hit by Dust or Lightning Storm, it's not the end of the world. Whereas in the trap-heavy version, all you can really do is Lord of the Heavenly Prison, Solemn Judgment, Anti-Spell, or Virus, or else you're dead. Again, it's not the end of the world because when you've got cards like Pot of Duality and Prosperity, it is kind of in your favor. I will have to say though, the trap-heavy version has a really bad matchup against the furniture version. The trap-heavy version is playing all the floodgates that do absolutely less than nothing against the IKEA version. And even if the trap-heavy version goes first, because of the fact that IKEA can also use the discard effect of the Chandra and Stovey, you can kind of set cards at the same time as your opponent, meaning that it cancels out the advantage that your opponent had for winning the dice roll. Not to mention that, yet again, the trap-heavy version plays a lot of dead cards like Sphere Mode, whereas the IKEA version plays a lot of hand traps like Ash and Bell, which are nasty in the mirror match. And as for the Kashtira matchup, you already know that the furniture build is insane against it. Your hand traps are really good. If you Nibiru a board of a Rizart, then your opponent pretty much has nothing to interact with you, and you're good to go. And again, worst case, you just discard your surplus hand traps that do nothing, and you start getting advantage really fast. If you are still alive by turn 3, you're probably winning the whole game. Now, another thing that I find really cool with the furniture build is how you can play a lot of cards that get their effects off when they get discarded. You can play the Ishizu Monsters, or Danger Bigfoot, or Thunderbird, which are really nice at destroying cards, or you can play Absolute King Backjack. You can also play Wannabe, which has a somewhat similar effect as Backjack, so that you can actually play a lot on your opponent's turn. At this point, you could even say that Labyrinth is the new tier elements for trap decks because it plays a lot on turn 0. But yeah, all of this just to say one thing. It's really interesting to see how quickly a trend can come to life and also die off. The whole Labyrinth player base went from A to B and then back to A and potentially back to B just to revert back to A again. All of this just to demonstrate the volatile nature of this game. Always evolving and keeps us on our toes. Anyways, that's all I had for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know your thoughts about the evolution of Labyrinth in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.